Hi, everybody. Here we are at Pleiadian's Awakening again on a Wednesday night here in Sydney. So everybody's super, super welcome. And we are super loving life and delighted and honored to be with Kayt Raymond tonight. Kayt works in industry as a corporate strategist, a change agent, and authentic leadership coach to CEOs and executives. And in 1996, Kayt's life was profoundly changed by meeting a group of angels. Though not an artist, Kayt was invited to paint and write with these beings and was taught how to commune and co-create with them as colleagues and friends. Over the years, Kayt has become known as an angel communicator, receiving words and paintings in her heart, knowing and sharing what is given. Each angelic embeds its frequency and quality into the painting as it is being created. So when we see these sacred embodiments, our hearts are drawn to the frequency of the angel we need. Fra Angelico painted in a similar way in the Renaissance. Kayt also does angel consults, where an individual brings their questions for the angels and has a conversation with them through her. Spirit guides wait till the end of the consultation to speak with their loved one. And we'll post that in the chat, and it's in the Pleiadians at www.kaytraymond.com with a Kayt. And I had a spirit consult with Kayt recently, and it was absolutely amazing. And these angelic beings do come through during the reading, and it's absolutely amazing and delightful to experience. And they're full of wisdom and really amazingly helpful. Yeah. So with that, I'm welcoming you, Kayt, to Pleiadian's Awakening. Welcome in, and we're going to hand over to you, my dear.
All right, David. Thank you so much for inviting me. That was a real treat that you did. And hi, everybody. We're going to do a short meditation. So if you feel comfortable, please just close your eyes, get comfortable, and move your awareness to your heart chakra. And when you're ready, take your awareness up the throat chakra, let it become full of light. And then the chakra at the brow, and then the chakra at the crown, pumping it full of divine white light, and then to the soul star above the head and filling it with divine white light. And then bringing our awareness when we're ready and in our own time, down, back to the heart chakra. Taking our time, moving back down to the heart chakra, and then filling the heart chakra with lots of light so that it flows out around the body, so that a tube of white light is coming down from the soul star above the head, around the head, down past the throat, down to the heart center. So we're building this column of white light, and then taking our awareness down, down to the chakra at the waist, the solar plexus, building the light out from there, so that the solar plexus is flowing out around the body. And then again, in our own time, moving our awareness down to the sacral chakra, just below the navel, pushing the light out around the body, so the sacral chakra becomes part of the column of light. And then when we're ready, and in our own time, taking our awareness to the base chakra and filling it full of white light. So again, it goes out around the body. And then extending the column of white light down around the legs, through the floor, down into the ground to the earth soul chakra, about 3 feet below the ground. Extending that and expanding that into a chakra of white light. So the column of white light is traveling down around the body, into the ground, and then allow the light to go down, down, down to the center of Mother Earth. And there in the center of Mother Earth, nourishing Mother Earth with the white light and connecting with the violet flame of purification. And when we're ready, bringing the violet flame up inside the column of white light. Up, up, up. So that we bring the violet flame up through the earth soul chakra, up through the feet, surrounding the body and the chakras with the violet flame of purification. So it starts to shift things we're carrying. And then moving the violet flame right up the column of white light so that it gets through all the chakras, back up, way up to the soul star above the head. And then when we're ready, bringing our awareness back down to the heart and sinking into the heart center. And from that place in the heart center, inviting the angelics and particularly the angels to be with us tonight. And when we're ready, just simply opening our eyes. Okay, so look, the bottom line of calling on angels and archangels is really about manifesting our very best life with divine support. That's the bottom line. I've been working with angels now and painting them for 22 years, and they put their frequency into the painting. And when we call on angels every morning, it's easy to do. What it brings to our life is the divine support that helps us be our best self. And like, why wouldn't we do that? It's easy. We just simply say to our guardian angel, thanks for being with me today and for helping me have a good day. And then let's say we think, look, I just need patience today. And then we simply say, thank you for the angel of patience helping me today. And the guardian angel will connect into the frequency of that angel, bring the frequency to our spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical bodies. And after a while, we start becoming more patient. So tonight I wanted to deal with the fact that we're frequency beings. So often, you know, we hear that saying with physical beings having a spiritual experience, and so much of our life is about focusing on the physical, when in fact the biggest part of us is our light body. And it's so big that when we look up at the moon and we're thrilled by the moon, part of our frequency goes out, touches the moon and comes back. So our frequency body is very big. And so this frequency we have, as we radiate from this frequency, we can send and receive messages. Love is the message that travels the fastest. And we know this. If we're thinking of someone and feeling love for them, they'll say things like, you know, you were thinking about me at 6 o'clock last night. I know, I could feel your love. And we've all had experiences like that where we, you know, we have something like that happen. And what I've learned to do, I didn't try to do it. I didn't decide to do it. I live in the Blue Mountains. When someone is coming up to visit, I can feel their frequency when they're at the bottom of the mountain, which is about an hour's drive away. I didn't try to do it. I just know, oh, that's where they are. That's how they're feeling. So when they arrive, I'm sort of ready for them because I've known where they are on their journey. Now, all of us can do this. It's just a matter of allowing the awareness of our frequency body to be more present and for us to be more aware of it. We've all had experiences where we phone someone, we're planning to phone them, and then we phone someone and they say, oh, I've just walked in. This is perfect timing. And we know, our frequency knows where they are. We know they've just walked in. We don't know it consciously. Our frequency knows. So tonight, just by way of, some of you have heard me say this before. For the people who don't know, an angel is a being of divine light, and it radiates one quality. So it could be wisdom or kindness or compassion or forgiveness. And an archangel, by comparison, is much bigger and more powerful, and it radiates multiple qualities. And so, for example, Archangel Michael describes it as an angel with its one quality is like the book in the library, and an archangel with its multiple qualities is like the library. And way back when David invited me, immediately 2 angels were suggested for this group. They're behind me. One is Angel Maxodon, the cool looking dude with the blue on. Sorry, not Maxodon, Nathaniel, I messed that up. The cool looking dude with the blue on. And the other one, this one with the longish arm, is Maxodon. So the angels felt, and we've got a surprise angel as well. The angels felt that this group would really value knowing about Nathaniel. Now, I'm interested to know, maybe with a show of hands or something, how many people find themselves procrastinating, like you think, oh, I'll start on Monday, or I can put it off till tomorrow. Do any of you have that experience? Yeah, we all do. And so this angel was suggested, this is, gotta get my head going the right way, Nathaniel was suggested because his quality that he radiates is integrity in action. And so he helps us become our best self in action in the world. Now, what does this actually mean? So I find when I call on him, 2 things happen. If I've got a long list of things to do on the day, I find myself sometimes going, oh dear, I don't know if I want to start doing all these things. If I call on Maxodon, if I call on Nathaniel, I'll get this right yet. If I call on Nathaniel, I say, Nathaniel, thanks for your help today. What happens is the key thing to know is to call on him and then to start something to do with what you want to do. And pretty soon, what happens is you're in the groove, you've had, you find you're enjoying yourself, you're experiencing your mastery, and it's like, hey, this is really good. And so he brings us into the truth of the moment and inspires us to action. That's what he does. And so, you know, if we're in a fix of some sort, if there's been an accident or something's gone wrong, we don't have to actually have to call on him. We can, the fact that we're honestly trying to deal with something, the honesty and the courage that takes draws him to us. So the people who experience this, particularly because he works with groups, are firefighters and emergency workers and paramedics, because they go straight into there honestly dealing with something and their courage to do whatever it is, and he comes to help them. I have a friend called Ross. He was a high school teacher for many years, and then he became a firefighter. And now he has a crew, 2 or 3 people under him who are firefighters. And he and his partner, Bernard, got a call. There was a fire raging in the Megalong Valley, and it was going to come up over the top and burn down 2 houses. So Ross and Bernard and a couple of others were given a call by Central Base for the firefighting unit. And they were told, go to this area. There are 2 houses there, find them and protect them. So they went to the area, couldn't find the houses. They kept phoning back to base, and base kept saying, no, the houses are definitely there. So finally they found 2 houses. One was one that had a shed at the back that Ross and Bernard were at, and the other was like a new Tudor style house with stained glass windows. And so when Ross and Bernard got to the house with the shed at the back, it was surrounded by lots of grasses. And, you know, fires take 2 or 3 minutes to incinerate a house and be gone. It's very fast. And of course, what Ross says is that people become befuddled in a firestorm or in a fire, and they don't know what to do. So when they arrived at the house, they found this young guy coming out of the house in thongs and shorts and a t-shirt, carrying a guitar. And Ross said, where are you going? And he said, I'm going away from the fire. And Ross said, you can't get away from the fire. It's coming right at you. And the guy started to panic, and Ross said, no. Just go back inside, lay on the floor, don't get up or the smoke will you, just do what you're told. And the guy said, okay, because Ross says you're going to get burnt to a crisp if you try to go somewhere else from here. So Ross and Bernard hid out in the shed, and they managed to get the hose going around the shed, and they hosed the house, and they knew that the fire was very close because they could hear the roar of the fire coming up over the top of the Megalong Valley, up towards the house. They had managed to put enough water around the house that the fire just went around each side of the house. And they knew that if they didn't keep the water on the house, that they'd be incinerated in minutes. When they looked over to see what had happened to the other house, they couldn't see it because there was so much smoke. And Ross was concerned because his son was in the other team, and they'd moved the fire tanker over near that Tudor house because they thought this is going to be the worst part of the fire. We need the truck there. And so again, the fire came up. The people in the house managed to hide in the laundry and still somehow kept the water going. And finally, when the fire had gone through, the other team were walking towards Ross and Bernard, and Ross didn't know if his son had been killed or not, because his son was in the other team. And finally, they met up, and it was like, oh, it's all okay. Everyone's alive. We've saved both houses, although the Tudor one was pretty dented. You know, the paint was sort of blistering and so on. And they actually saved these houses and the people in both. And I said to Ross, what happens to you, you know, when you've got a fire heading towards you with the sound that's ferocious? What do you think? And he says, look, your adrenaline's going, but what kicks in is your training. And I said, you know, do you ever call on God? He said, no, I've always lived by qualities. I have done that, and I do teach my children the same. I teach them to live by honesty and kindness and wisdom and so on. He said, somehow it works. Now, what happened for Ross, Bernard and the rest of the team was because they were honestly and courageously attempting to get rid of the fire and to put it out, or at least get it to circumvent the houses, was they'd called on Nathaniel. And Nathaniel helps people be very present in the moment and respond with the courage that's really required. So what Nathaniel does for these firefighters, emergency workers, paramedics and so on, is he fills them with integrity and action, and then they can just act in the moment. So here's the thing, for years I didn't understand Nathaniel's quality. I just knew if I came and started, everything would be fine. I'd get going, I'd be in the groove and so on. So I thought it was Nathaniel's quality. But here's the thing, this is what he does. He's an energy lifter. He lifts our daily self up and connects us with our divine self and therefore through to God. So that what we're experiencing when we experience Nathaniel's quality is our own higher nature, our own higher self. And so if we need any other qualities like strength and bravery and so on, those strengths come down to us from our higher self to our daily self, and we can act in the world. So when we call on Nathaniel, although we think, well, Nathaniel has great quality, what he's connecting us to is our own quality, our own frequency, our own light for our work in the world. And it's why we enjoy working so much with Nathaniel and his quality of integrity and action, because it's us we're experiencing our own quality. I think that's pretty exciting, really. So the other thing about him is that, you know, I have a girlfriend, Manisha, who's a writer, and she's extraordinary in that she's got a full-time job and she can do 7,500 to 10,000 words a weekend, and they're good words. And she rang me one day and she said, look, I'm just not getting going. I just don't know what's happened. So I just suggested to her that she call on Angel Nathaniel and that she thank him for helping her get into her writing, and she just started on a few sentences. And she rang me back at the end of the weekend and said that's what she'd done. She called on Nathaniel, she'd started writing a couple of sentences, and pretty soon she was in the groove, on point, flowing with her writing, and she managed to get 8,000 words done that weekend. Another friend, Kathy, calls on Nathaniel, but she calls him the tax angel. I don't know what he thinks about that. And when she has to do her tax, she sort of, you know, she fiddles around and doesn't get it done. And she got this demand notice from the tax department. So she called on Nathaniel and she said, it was extraordinary. She started picking up papers and putting them in piles of how she had to deal with them. And she started at 8, and by 2 o'clock in the morning, she'd done her tax and put her return in, and, you know, could go to bed at peace about not being fined $5,000 or whatever it was. So I'm suggesting that Nathaniel's a really handy angel for this group. Well, that's what the angels thought, that you might like to know of him, because his quality can really assist us move forward in the world and help us live our best life. So David, if you wanted to open up for a minute and ask people if they do have a question on Nathaniel, I'm happy to take it. I know it's a bit different to the plan.
By all means, please unmute if you have any question at all.
About Nathaniel.
About Nathaniel.
No? Okay, well, I'll plow on to the next angel. So the next angel who was suggested for tonight is Angel Maxodon. He's the one there. And he is, does anyone have the experience where they've got lots of thoughts going on? Anyone have this issue going on? You know, there's lots of thoughts. A lot of people have lots of thoughts. And so for Maxodon's quality is bringing peace to the human mind. So for every thought we have, it dredges up an emotion. And if we follow it, it's pretty soon, and we can find ourselves going down a rabbit hole of toxic emotions because we've followed a thought. So what Maxodon does with his quality of bringing peace to the human mind, he pushes the thoughts to the side. They don't go away, but they're pushed sort of over to the side. And from being in a situation where it was hard to focus because there's so many thoughts, it's actually easy to focus. Or if we're in a situation of doubt or fear, or we think things are going to be a challenge, Maxodon's a good one to call on because he calms the mind and brings peace. And he puts a bridge under our thoughts, and it lets us focus, and it lets us move forward with ease, and it adds power to what we're doing. So when I was painting Maxodon, I'm normally painting where a big, large piece of paper is nailed, stapled to a board. It's a 55 centimetre by 75 centimetre piece of paper. And what I didn't know was the area of the paper just around Maxodon's t-shirt and face, the paper was corrupted, and there was a problem with the paper. And what happens is sizing is put on the paper so the paint adheres to the paper, and somehow the sizing just there wasn't adhering the paint. And so there I was wondering, well, what do I do? And so I tried painting on a very thin piece of paper another top half of him and sticking it on. It looked terrible. And so I was trying to work out solutions for about 3 weeks. And finally, I guess the angels must have this particular master. And
Kayt, can you just say that again?
And yes, sure.
Can you just repeat that last sentence, because there's some you keep freezing on my end, and I'm recording.
So here I was after 3 weeks of attempting to get this painting to work, and I couldn't. And the angels must have spoken to a particular ascended master who's a painter. I'd never heard of him before. But this energy, this big presence came into the room, and the name was the Master Painter. And he'd come to help me solve the solution. Now, what the Master Painter's job is every scene we look at, no matter what scene it is, he helps the scene to be balanced for us. So it looks like an acceptable scene for a human to look at. I think that's really cool. I don't know how he does it. And so the Master Painter came into the room, and until that point, I didn't know I had any trance medium abilities. And for those people who don't know, a trance medium is someone who can energetically leave their body, and the angel or archangel or ascended master can come in and use their body to speak to you. And, you know, most trance mediums leave, you know, about 80% of their energy in their body. Well, when this painter, the Master Painter, came and sat in my body, it was like, no way am I leaving my body. We're going to have to squash in here together. And so he stood me up, moved me around the living room, because I'd been painting on the living room table, got stood the painting up on the easel, and then it was clear he wasn't happy because there was no border around the painting, so it would focus him on the scene. And I had little bits of post-it notes all around the painting, giving myself little notes about what I was doing here and what I was doing there. And he was ripping these post-it notes off in disgust that they were there around the painting. And then he made it clear internally to me that he wanted some white paper to cut up and put a stick around the painting so he could see the scene. So I said, oh, internally, I said to him, look, we have to walk outside and go down to the shed at the end of the house. And of course, divine beings, they tune into the truth. They just tune into the truth of what's going on. So instead of going out the house, he marched me down the hall to the third bedroom to where I had put a folder, a black folder, art folder, and picked it up, took it back into the room, and there inside was some white paper I'd completely forgotten about. So he cut it up, we stuck it round, and he was looking at the painting, decided that as a view it was okay, that the Angel Maxodon was looking okay, but the shirt and the face was terrible. So he came into my body, and then all the weird marks on what was going to be the t-shirt that I'd been worried about, all these weird marks, he actually managed to turn into a pattern. And so we ended up with this purple t-shirt, and it looked terrific. And then I'm thinking, right, now the real problem is the face. How do we do the face with this? And then he went whoosh, and off. It was like, no, don't leave, please. I want some help with the face. And so anyway, I finally got the face done. And so the thing about Maxodon is when we call on him, he not only helps us have a peaceful mind, but he also clears some of the stuff, which you can see there's a little briefcase down here near his feet. And he gets rid of some of the old baggage we're carrying. An example of this is a young guy I know, my nephew actually, Justin, was resisting, when he was studying at university, was resisting writing a paper that he had to have in by a certain date in order to qualify in the subject and then graduate. And he rang me and said, I'm going to be having such trouble getting into this writing this paper. And he stopped stalling, he stopped resisting, and Justin was able to get in the flow and write the paper and submit it on time. So another example is Jock, who is a friend of mine who owns 3 quite lovely homewares boutiques. And he does a lot of driving in his van because these boutiques are about 2 hours drive. These 3 boutiques are about 2 hours drive from one another. He's constantly driving and thinking about the stock and all the things he has to take to the next place. And he said that he felt that driving had become quite dangerous for him because he was always busy in his mind thinking about what to do and what needed to be done and what other things should be on his list and what he had to get done that day. And so what he did was I gave him Maxodon, he put a picture of Maxodon in the car, and as soon as he got in the car, in the van rather, as soon as he got in the van, he'd call on Maxodon, and he said that every time he called on Maxodon, his mind became still, he could drive more safely, and the things that he'd been worrying about before, all the things on his list, they seemed to sort of get done anyway, and he enjoyed the trip. So Maxodon's a good one to call on if we just need our mind to be peaceful. Especially for those of us who are working on ascension, we really need to still our mind, and calling on Maxodon's a good way to start that, because operating from non-narration is essential on the path. So the other angel who was suggested for tonight is Angel Etimo, spelled Etimo. And her quality is about readiness. She says that, angels and archangels bring opportunities to people all the time. And we go, oh, no, I'm fine, thanks. And then 2 or 6 months later, we think, oh, why did I do that? That's exactly what I need. So Etimo's quality is readiness to receive. And in the picture of her, she has a lovely shawl on and a pretty skirt and a panther next to her. And the point she's making is that she wants us, when we see an opportunity passing by, to pounce on it as a panther would. Because panthers look sleek, elegant, and restful while they're just sitting there. But as soon as a possible meal goes by, they're at full pace to pounce on it. And she wants us to be ready to do that. And she says that the main thing she does is when, and not only does she bring us opportunities, but she brings us the ability to recognize, receive, and capitalize on opportunities. And there are a number of people in this group who have businesses or have situations where, you know, they'd like to have more opportunities come to them, especially at this time in the world when the world is changing. There's so many stresses and changes. It's really excellent to have more opportunities come to us. So Etimo is about, ETIMO, is about receiving the positive. I have a friend, Cecilia, who lives up here in the mountains, and she had come for an angel consultation about 10 years ago. And what I noticed about her was she always had things coming to her. I'd completely forgotten what had happened in her angel consultation, but she'd been living in a house where she was paying too much rent, and she had high heating bills. And then someone sent her an email about an assisted living situation of the Uniting Church in a building where she could have very minimal rent and where all her electricity, water, and gas heating bills would be paid for. The next thing that happened for her was that she thought, oh, I really need a studio to paint in. This is terrible having this oil painting sitting up on my table all the time at home. It crowds the place, and what I need is a studio. And shortly after, about a week later, a friend said, look, we've got a studio at our place that we never use, and do you want to use it? And she has many other examples like this. And I finally said to her, what do you do that you have so many opportunities like this come to her? And she said, well, you forget, but when I did the angel consultation with you, I was given 9 angels to call on for my specific life. And the first one is Angel Etimo. And I have to say that for years now, she has been bringing me opportunities that will support me having a better life. And so she's a really handy angel to know. For me, I called on Etimo when I was wanting introductions to the CEOs of companies, because the CEO often is the one that decides on consulting fees and says, yes, we'll get this person in and we'll get them to do X. And I went to London to run some angel workshops, and I went to an art exhibition, having called on Etimo again that day. And I went to the art exhibition with a girlfriend, and we walked around the corner of the show where the paintings were all up, and we heard this Australian couple talking. So we got talking with them, and they were joint CEOs. They come from Melbourne, and they said, look, what do you do? And I explained, you know, I'm a strategist and a change agent. I do executive coaching with CEOs for authentic leadership. And they said, we've been looking for someone like you for years that we can't feel comfortable with. So their company and they became really good clients of mine. And I felt it was Etimo bringing CEOs to me for, you know, for me to actually get work. And that's what happened. Another example was I saw an ad in the paper for a great concert at the Opera House, and I couldn't get onto the Opera House at the time to get a ticket. And I thought, look, I'm just going to wing it and go in. And I parked the car in the Ritz-Carlton parking station and walked towards the lift with a guy who'd also just parked the car. And we went up in the lift together, and he's putting his tie on as he went up in the lift. And I was saying, yes, that's looking better now. And you pull the collar down on the left, etc. And so he said, so where are you going? And I said, well, I'm going to the Opera House. I'm hoping to get a ticket. He said, hang on a minute. He put his hand into his shirt pocket and he pulled out a ticket. And he said, look, my wife couldn't come tonight. Here's a ticket for you. And as he walked off, I went, thanks, have a nice evening. He said, you'll know whether I have a nice evening. You'll be sitting beside me. So it turned out we were sitting up in the circle. The head of his French company, the French president was on his right. Then there was this CEO, and I was on his left. And at interval, he said, looked at me and he said, we must have met for some reason to meet like this. And I said, yeah, I guess so. What do you do? And he said, I'm a CEO of this company. And I said, well, I do this work. And he said, here's my card, come see me. And I ended up doing some work with him. So I felt that it was Angel Etimo yet again lining me up to meet a CEO, and I ended up getting work from him. So I guess I'm saying to everyone in the group that this angel is really helpful to bring the sorts of opportunities that we want. And we just need to say specifically what types of opportunities we'd like. And if we don't want to say, well, I like opportunities around meeting CEOs, as I did, you might just say, look, please bring me opportunities, and then all sorts of different opportunities will arrive. So they're the three angels that were guided for tonight. Angel Nathaniel, integrity in action, getting us on the pace so we feel in the groove. Angel Maxodon, bringer of peace to the human mind, so we can move forward with ease and grace. And Angel Etimo, we don't have a photo of, who's painted with a panther. And she's the one who helps us recognize, receive, and capitalize on opportunities. So there we go, folks. If you'd like to ask some questions or make some comments, please do.
I think Scott, did you want to ask a question?
Sorry, it was mostly thank you so much, Kayt, for your generosity in introducing us to them tonight. It was I just felt my whole heart chakra popping open as you started talking, and about a half hour before I got online with you all, I started to get really dizzy and lightheaded and foggy. And my sense was there was a lot of really powerful energy swirling around. So yeah. I'm sure that's connected to you as well and being with us. So I have no questions other than just wanting to honor you and thank you for your generosity in being with us tonight. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And I do want to say to you that I called on a group of angels and two archangels, actually. No, three. I called on Archangel Michael to surround the group with his legions of light so that we're all protected and able to be present. And I called on Archangel Uriel to help me be very concise and helpful. And then I called on Archangel Raphael. And now what Uriel's about is about manifestation. What Raphael is about is he radiates the multiple qualities of love. Now, a lot of people think that Raphael is a healer. And from his point of view, he's not a healer. He says, look, if you are surrounded by the multiple qualities of love, you can't help but be healed as a consequence of it. And of all the archangels, he likes to just pop around the world and check on his people on the ground, his angels who have come in to have a human life and others who are drawn to Raphael. So we've really been embraced by a number of archangels tonight, Scott. So I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Sula, I know you always have wonderful questions. There she is.
Hi there. Hi, Kayt.
Hi.
So is it to call on the angels? Is it just a matter of just saying, hey, Nathaniel, like, can you just is there a special technique that you have to use, or can you be casual?
Oh, of course you can be casual. The main thing is to call on our guardian angel first, because they're the ones that actually connect us to Nathaniel. So the easy thing to do at the beginning of the day is simply to say, guardian angel, thank you for making my day easy, or thank you for facilitating my day. And then if we say, I'd like the help of Angel Nathaniel today, what the guardian will do is connect into the frequency of the archangel, not the archangel, of Nathaniel, and bring the frequency down through our spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical bodies. And pretty soon, you know, let's say we've called on Nathaniel to help with a particular project we want to get into. As I said, the key is to just start, and pretty soon we're motoring through with it, and it's all working. So that's the best way. So like call on the guardians, and then the guardian, and then call on Nathaniel, and then the guardians will get Nathaniel for you.
Okay.
What you might like to know is how many guardians we've got and how they look after us. So when we're in spirit, and we are a spirit, and we're making our plan, right? So we're up there making a plan of what we're going to have in this life, and we're there as a spirit working out, this is the plan, these are the purposes that I want to come for, these are the projects I want to do, these are the truths I want to learn. So we have our plan, and we don't choose our guardians, they choose us. And we actually have 4 guardian angels. So the guardians will crowd around, and some of them say, a couple of them might say, oh, I've worked with you as a spirit before, you're good, you get on the case, I'm coming with you. So there might be 1 or 2 go, I'm coming with you because I've worked with you before. Then another 1 or 2 might say, I like what you're going to do, I'm coming too. So we have in our heart center as a spirit, we have our plan and our knowing of what we're going to do when we get here. But the problem is that once a human gets down the birth canal and all that carry on, and the guardians sort of come in with us to look after us, we forget why we came. And the guardian angels are really valiant angels. They don't come with an agenda of their own. They come with our agenda. And so they hold in trust for us our agenda. So right now, 1 of your guardian angels is behind you, 1 of mine is behind me. And the other 3 that we have are sitting out in our soul space, guarding our purposes and our truths, etc. So what a guardian angel's job is to do is to help guide us to our plan. Now, the thing that is a real key in knowing, I'm on my plan, I'm doing my heart's purpose, is if our heart is happy, if we're happy doing whatever it is or being whatever it is, we're on purpose. And so the guardians will assist in that way if we have forgotten why we came. And so the guardians do 3 things. The first is they help organize things for us. Things about our day, things about what we want to achieve, how we want to be during the day. The second thing they do is they talk to the guardians of other people. We've all had this happen. We've been in a city, we didn't know one of our friends was going to be in the city, and that person's guardian says to your guardian, get yours to walk this way, I'll get mine to walk that way. And, you know, we bump into the person, it's like, oh, hi, do you want to catch up and have a coffee or a cup of tea? So it's like our people talk to their people and then connect us up. And everyone in this group, I'm sure, has had, you know, that sort of experience. We have these experiences over and over. And the other thing is that there are times when we when we worry and we think, what should I do about that situation? I'm not sure what to do. And there's one of the guardians, so 3 of the guardians, they're on shift work. So the one with us at the moment, it will get to a point where it goes, right, I'm swapping with one or the other of the 3 ones who come in and help us on a day-to-day basis. The 4th guardian is our God messenger guardian. So those times when we pray or meditate or call out to God, that guardian takes our message to God. Now, often we call out to God and we don't know. It's a call from our heart and our mind doesn't know and we're not aware of it. It's just we know we've been concerned about something. And so the God messenger guardian angel brings the answer to our concern back. And we've all had this experience where we're worried about something. And then after a while we thought, no, look, I can be at peace about that because it feels okay now. Or we've been thinking of a situation where we weren't sure what to do, and what comes to our heart knowing is a solution, and we go, oh, I know what to do about that now. And so what happens is that, we get these messages back from God via the God messenger angel who feeds the responses into our heart knowing. And the third thing that the guardians do, as I mentioned, if we call on a particular angel, Nathaniel or Maxodon or Etimo or whoever, even if we don't know the name of the angel, it might be the angel for courage. We can say, I am grateful for the help of the angel for courage, and our guardian will connect into the frequency of that angel for courage, bring it to our spiritual, mental, emotional body, and after a while we'll start to feel courage. So I thought I'd mention how the guardian angels operate as a sort of an extension to your question.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And I was thinking about that today when David said that you were coming in on the group, because I remember you spoke about a year ago, and I remember thinking, oh yeah, she was telling us about how we each have these guardian angels around us. And I've been thinking about that from time to time over the course of the last year. So it's been really beautiful just knowing they're there and calling on them from time to time. And I guess my next question is, like, they're there to guard us. And, there are times when I've almost walked out into the street without looking and been hit by a bus, and someone's just pulled me back off the street. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, obviously my guardian angel was in communication with that person. But
yeah.
Sometimes, like, guardian angels, like, what happens in the situations where, like, we obviously have greater will than our guardian angels, because sometimes people do stupid things and the guardian angels aren't able to intervene, and then there's a tragedy.
Okay, so there's a couple of answers to that. So remember, we live in a free will zone. The guardians and the other angels can make suggestions to us and give us advice. Because we live in a free will zone, it's us that makes the choice whether to take the advice or not, right? Now, let's say someone is in a situation where they're about to be killed. The only time that the angelics can intervene is if we're about to be killed and it's not our time. So otherwise they can't intervene. We have to call on them. We have to ask them for what we need because we live in a free will zone. So I was told about this lovely story about an old man called Peter who was driving his little putt-putt car behind a big truck that had its platform thing out the back and in front of a Pantechnicon behind him. They were coming up to the major intersection of Ryde some years ago before there were some changes to it. And his guardian angel knew that there was going to be an accident at the corner and that Peter would be decapitated by the back of the truck. And so, because it wasn't his time, she wanted to save him. So she sat on the hood of the car and came out of being invisible to being visible. Now, he'd never seen an angel before. He wasn't interested in angels. All of a sudden, this guardian angel was sitting on the hood of the car.
Oh, gosh.
And because he was interested and he could see her, he pulled into a side street to have a closer look at her. And so he stopped the car, he got out of the car. As soon as he was safe, she became invisible again. And he actually wrote to the local paper in Ryde and told the story because he knew that his guardian angel had saved him. So does that sort of answer the question?
Yeah. How do they know when it's your time? Like, do they just know when it's your time to die before obviously you do?
So before we come, we actually make the choice about how long we're going to live. And he had made that choice when he was going to die and how long he was going to be here in the human body. And so that was part of his plan. And so the guardian angel who was with him knew his plan and knew his time wasn't yet. It was about 20 years away. And so it was appropriate to save his life because this wasn't how he was meant to die. And there was a crash at the corner. People did die, and he would have if his guardian angel hadn't saved him. So I know someone's going to say, if I want to change my timeline, how do I do this? Call, I love your laugh, Scott. Call on any one of the archangels and meditate and say, I want to extend my timeline. Now, you may not know what your timeline is. I don't know what mine is, but, you know, I decided I wanted to live to 120. Whether I'll keep the physical body going that long, I don't know. And recently, a divine one, actually Saint Germain, I'll say who it was, spoke to me. And he said, so, you know, when are you planning to leave? And I said, when I'm 120. And he went, oh, my dear, why limit it? Well, Saint Germain, you know, hey, he just walked in and out of lives. He just had one continuous life, you know. So, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Kayt. Absolutely beautiful. I've heard many stories like that of angels that have appeared as physical beings for different reasons. Yeah. But I wanted to ask you about the three angels that you had for us tonight. So it's an interesting combination. First, we had Nathaniel, which is about procrastination. Then we had Maxodon, bringing peace to the human mind, the busy mind. Yeah. And then we had Etimo, which is readiness. Why do you think those three angels came tonight?
Well, I think that I wondered about that, actually, and I suspect that the angels who guided to have Nathaniel and Maxodon knew, like, this group is a group that's really committed to their life. They're doing things, some of them have businesses, etc. And I feel like the angels wanted to say, look, it can be easier for you. If you know the quality of Nathaniel, he helps you get on the case, integrity in action, and you love being who you are. Yeah. With Maxodon, gives you peace of mind so that you can actually focus. Because many of the people in this group are really action-oriented. You know, they get on with their life, they create things, they manifest. And I feel the angels wanted to say, listen, can we give you a couple of helpers here who'll just make it easier for you to achieve what you want to? And with Etimo, I felt they were saying to this group, look, you're a spiritual group. You deserve opportunities coming to you with ease. And we want to encourage you to grab the opportunities when they come to you. So I felt that really the angels were saying to this group, we acknowledge you as beings of light and as spiritual beings who are doing their best to make a difference in the world. And we want to support that by suggesting these angels to you and giving them to you as resources. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely beautiful. Joe,
Yeah.
did you want to say anything? She's got in the chat here. So much is happening to me in this space at the moment. I'm in love with this existence. And what else did you say? This is making me sing in my heart and feel peace. So beautiful.
It's just very active for me at the moment, and it's just great. It's amazing. So yeah, I'm super happy. Super happy.
Well, do you want to come on camera, Joe? You happy to come on camera? Remember,
Yeah.
this will be in the public domain.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I just I guess the question that came to my mind is a large life event likely to realign you with your angels if you've lost them, if you've been busy or there's been cloud around you and you've lost sight of them, and then there's some big events in life and you sort of recenter and you're like, oh, I'm here, I can see clearly, I can see where I'm going. That's what it feels like for me right now.
How wonderful. So was that a question?
Question and a
comment.
Just an awareness. Yeah.
You know, they never leave us. Our guardian angels in particular are like our spiritual skin. They know our every thought, our every wish, our every desire. And so they never leave us. We may forget about them, but they never leave us. And those times when we don't call on an angel or an archangel, those times when we wish for something, or we're in traffic and we wish for X or Y, well, the guardians take it seriously and they get that angel to assist us. So I feel, and it's also been my experience, that even if they go out of our awareness, they're actually with us. And one of the things I adore most about angels is they love getting on the case with us, you know. And if we stop and hesitate, then they go, okay, what's happening here? And then they help us get going again. I think that's an extraordinary resource to have in our lives, you know, that we can, even if we don't know the name of the angel or the quality we need, if we just say of a morning, angels, help me today. I had a woman come for an angel consultation not long ago. She decided she'd come up from Sydney, and she said, you know, I just call on the angels every day and it's always worked really well for me. I have magical things happening all the time because I know the angels are looking after me. So they gave her, the angels in the angel consultation gave her specific angels around particular business problems she wanted to address. And this person had a number of coffee shops with her husband, 3 of them. And there were specific issues with every coffee shop. And they gave her specific purposes about what to call on, what the purpose was, because it's good if we give them a brief. Angels like it if, you know, what happens with humans often was we go, help, you know, and from the angels' point of view, they go, honey, from our point of view, you need a lot of help with a whole bunch of things. What specifically would you like help with today? Yeah. So it's best if we give them a brief and we go, this is what's happening for me. Please help me with this. Right. And they go, right, we'll focus on that for you. So even if you don't know the name of the angel or the quality you want, just say, angels, I want help with this today, and you'll get it.
Yeah. There are, Kayt, there are some rules to all of this, right? I mean, the angel that stops you from killing yourself, I remember speaking to Garnet Schulhauser, whose spirit guide takes him around the universe and shows him a million things, met one of his guardian angels who said her job was specifically to stop him from killing himself.
Yes, it's got to be right.
I guess that angel has free reign, right? It's not like you have to ask her or it or that energy. It just has free reign. It's like got that unconditional understanding. But then there are, because we have free will, we do have to ask for some things, but it's kind of a gray area what we ask for and what we don't ask for. I guess that if it's our safety or if our lives are threatened, maybe we don't have to ask for that because that's already pre-planned. But then there is other things that are not pre-planned and we've got free will. So then that's when we have to actually ask for assistance, right?
So a good way to cover that, I'm all for insurance, frankly, when we're dealing with the angelic. A good way to cover that is to say, wherever I need assistance today, please assist me. And that gives them permission to give you help in any area that you need it. I think that's great.
That's kind of covering it, isn't it?
It does. It's the angel insurance policy.
The angel insurance policy. But you know, Kayt, then there are times where they're not going to step in, because if we go through certain experiences, then we're going to learn something. So illness, like you can't say to the angels, okay, I want to be healthy and happy every day, because that's not what planet Earth is about, right? Planet Earth's not about being healthy and happy every day. It's about bumping up against contrast, bumping up against the traumas or the challenges, let me say challenges, and then learning and growing and evolving because of those challenges. So where do the angels fit into that scenario?
So this is a really good question, because, we come here as a spirit because Earth is the fast track. This is the area of all the universal systems where we can grow and develop the fastest. And that's why the third dimension is so bumpy. And so, yes, there are times when we have to go through experiences and we learn and grow, and we call for support during those, and we're given support. It's just how drastic a situation we've got ourselves into. Now, I do want to mention this because most people don't know what I'm about to say. If you have an issue with illness or there's a problem with health, then the thing to do is ask the Archangel for health to help. And you can do that for yourself or on behalf of someone else. And he hasn't given a name. He's told me that his name in a human language just goes on for too long. So he's just going to call himself the Archangel for Health. And what he does if we call on him is, from his vantage point, he tunes into us and our needs, and he diagnoses what our health needs are. And then he sends a group of his health angels who are specific to our specific health needs to assist us. I'm not saying that's instead of medical attention, but it's a very nice complementary medicine to have these health angels assisting us.
Not only are they assisting us, they're assisting the people who are assisting us. I remember sitting in a dentist's chair and just enjoying the process. Most people hate the dentist, right? But this was years ago, and I remember just, they were working, I can't remember what there was about 3 people working on me, and I just thought, I'll just go into a meditation and just enjoy this process. And I was really present to all the beings in the room that were working with the people who were working on me. And it was quite magical. I mean, it was only the dentist chair, but I was just thinking, in surgery, doctors everywhere, everyone everywhere. Like, I can imagine, Sula standing behind the counter serving people, and there are angels behind her helping.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Like,
and, yeah. And for example, Karen, if there's a medical situation going on, you can call on the medical specialist in spirit.
Yeah.
I broke my wrist at one point, and I was sitting in a girlfriend drove me to a wrist surgeon, and I was sitting there, and I knew that the medical specialists were in the room because I'd called on them, and I didn't want to have a plate and screws put in my wrist, and because it was my painting arm, and I was sitting there weeping, really, because I was just so overcome by the whole thing. And he said, look, if we don't put the plate and screws in, it could mean that your wrist will set in a really crooked way, and that'll make it difficult to paint. And I felt every medical specialist in that room saying, get the plate and screws. And so I said to him amid my tears, I don't want to do this, but wisdom says I must. How soon can you do it? He said, how's 9:30 in the morning? I said, fine, I'll be there. So, you know, we do get a lot of support, whatever field we're in, whether it's we have a boutique or a food outlet, or, you know, we have an oils business, or, you know, we have people and consultations we do in service to humanity. We have a team of people who can help us. And if we simply say, thank you for the angels, thank you to the angels for helping me today. And if you want to say it, then I suggest you say, and thank you to the angel and spirit specialists in my area, you know, whatever your focus is. And that'll, again, it'll cover it. And there's just one other thing I wanted to mention, and that is that I put posts online, and I often suggest an angel, and I talk about a specific angel, and I do it on Instagram and Facebook. And I'd just like to suggest you might like to follow me on one of those. There was a woman down the South Coast who got in touch with me. She had been absolutely grieving her father's death, and she just couldn't shake it. She couldn't get rid of it. And she saw in my post Astarte. She's the angel for the goodwill of happiness, the healing of grief, and the removal of sorrow. So she saw this in the post, and she started to call on Angel Astarte. And she phoned me. This woman runs a trucking company with her husband. And this woman phoned me after about 6 weeks and said, I just want to thank you for what you posted online, because I've been calling on Astarte, and already I'm feeling much, much better. I feel she's healing my grief, and I can finally think of my father with love and celebration where I couldn't before. And the other woman was a woman up the coast who's an artist. And because of COVID, she didn't have any opportunities coming to her to sell her artworks. And she had seen a post I'd done on Angel Etimo, bringer of opportunities. And she'd called on Etimo, and the woman wrote me an email to say, which you can do from my website, to say, I just want to thank you. I've been calling on Angel Etimo, and I've got my first 3 commissions, and I'm working on them. So, you know, I'm just saying, if you want to follow, please do.
Beautiful. Sula says here, do you want to come on camera and say what you've said here, Sula?
Sure. I'm not sure. I would like your opinion on this book, Gabrielle Bernstein, in her book Super Attractor.
Yep.
She talks a lot about angels.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of a good introductory foray into this area?
I don't know the book. To be really honest, I bought one of her books, and she goes at such a rate, and she's sort of hyper, that I felt a frequency, and I thought, I just can't read this book. So I don't know is the answer, Sula, and I'd rather just say that than, you know, steer you in the wrong direction about this.
Yeah. And I'd like to ask another question in regards to that, because she's somebody that, you know, talks about the attractor factor, law of attraction. We create our own reality. So I want to know, well, actually I know, but I'm going to ask this question for other people, how angels and law of attraction dovetail together. So if there is an energy, if there's an energy frequency that is the attractor factor, that is listening to our vibration, that is attracting situations and people into our lives, you know, in accordance to our vibrational alignment, how are the angels fitting into that?
Well, because of our frequency, we draw positivity to us. And where the angels fit into that is if we call on them for help with my business, help with my life, they bring the opportunities that slide in, and we think it's just the attractive factor. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so we go, hey, I'm a great attractor. And yeah, that's true. But you've also sort of asked in a way that helps the angels bring these opportunities to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wish I was more attractive to opportunities. I'd love this to happen. And so what we're actually doing is setting an agenda for the angel to bring us opportunities. And we go, I'm a great attractor. Well, yeah, that's true. But you've got some invisible assistants who are making that happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So just following on from that question, how does then God fit into this?
Okay, this is a great question. So if you talk to an angel, they never say I. I've been working with them for 22 years. 22 years, none of them have ever said I. They always say we, right? Now, what they mean is they are a continuum between the angel and God. So if someone calls on God and says, I want assistance with X, God feeds it out to the angel that's appropriate on the angel-God continuum, yeah? If you just want to go straight to the angel, it'll get to that angel anyway, if you went through the God loop. Yeah, so that's how it works. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't realize how pivotal the angels are. They're kind of like sort of in some ways they're not given as much credence as they really deserve then.
Yeah. Unsung angel.
That's
exactly right.
You're so right. And that's why I'm doing the books I'm doing. Yeah. Because we need to understand this situation, you know?
Yeah. I believe that God, the attractor factor or law of attraction, and the angel, it's all actually one energy, and you can explain it mathematically. It's all energy and frequency, sound and light energy. And you know what? So are we. Like we look at ourselves, we see hair and glasses and skin and bone and couches and cats and stuff, but it's all just energy and information that's orchestrated. It's an organization of energy. And when you look at it like energy, it looks like sacred geometric energy. Rachel has a question here. Do you want to come on camera, Rach? Are you there?
Yes. Hi.
Hi there, Rachel.
Hello. Hang on. I'll try and turn my camera on. Somehow start video. Oh, hang on. There we go. Hi.
Hi.
I've been doing a lot of work with dragons lately.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, are there particular angels who help us work with dragons?
That I'm not sure of, but I do know, I do love dragons. I think they're super. They're huge defenders of us. You know, they really look after us. I would imagine that the angels and the dragons are sort of inclusive, but I honestly don't know the actual answer to that. So I'm not going to make something up, you know.
I know the answer to that.
Good on you.
I was talking to somebody about this recently. Actually, I had someone on my show who works with the dragon energy. Yeah. And as I was tuning into the frequency when she was talking about it, I felt the angelic realm. And I kept saying, oh my God, I feel like as I'm thinking about dragons, I'm feeling angels. And then somebody else I was listening to or came on the show, I can't speak to so many people, said the dragon energy is a part of the angelic realm. It's actually a part of the end. It's the same intention, frequency of types. It's hard to put language to it because it's all just a different quality of frequency, like different notes in a song, you know, that harmonize together.
Well, what you're saying reminds me of a workshop I went to, and it was a great workshop. And one of the things we were doing was working with dragon energy. And what I noticed was how many angels were surrounding the group as we did that. Mm-hmm. So it really echoes what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what happened to David? Did we lose David?
No, David's here.
Oh,
where are
I'm
you?
here, but I froze and I had to go out and come back.
Come back in.
Now, David, do you have any questions?
Well, I was going to ask you, do you have any particular Pleiadian type channeling to come through tonight, or are you happy just to stay with questions?
I'm just happy to stay with questions. I didn't set it up beforehand, so.
Righty-ho, yeah.
Has anyone else got any?
I'm a question-free zone, so I'll hand over to other people.
Question-free zone.
Tonight.
You're a question-free. Has anyone else got any questions?
I have a question. Hi, Kayt.
Hi.
Who's that? Who am I talking to?
Lisa.
Lisa.
Do you want to come on camera?
Sure. Might be. I feel like it's a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Which angel do I call on to have courage
the angel of courage.
Yeah, okay, angel of courage.
Yep.
Help me with my question. How do I know which angel is standing behind my back?
Okay, let me just add something to this thing about the angel of courage. There is also an angel called Enthari, Enthari. It's Greek for encouragement. The angel who is the angel for encouragement, she's the one when we hesitate, you know, we want to do something, but we're sort of a bit hesitant, or we're going towards our goal and we pause. She shoves us in the back and puts us in touch with our courage, and we take the next step and the next step. And she works very closely with the angel for victory. Now, it's not winners and losers, it's the feeling of victory within the self, the feeling of achieving something, of accomplishing something. So it's like Angel Enthari is a good one to call on, the angel of encouragement, because she puts us in touch with our courage. And you can also call on the angel for courage. What the angel for encouragement does is she gets us sort of up the path through the hedge to another platform, because we've achieved our goal and we're now at a different platform because we're in this victory space, and the angel of victory helps us express and expand from that victory space. So that's how it sort of works. Now I think you had a second question.
I did. I said, how do I know which angel is behind me?
So the angel who's behind you is one of your guardian angels.
Okay, but
and that guardian swaps with two others. So there's three of them who swap.
Okay.
And they're with you 24/7. And they know every thought, every desire, every wish. Yeah.
They don't have a name. They're just
no. Now this is really interesting. Like, it's humans that are interested in names because we're physical and we see physical things as separate to us, and we like, there's a desk and there's a chair and there's a table and so on. But for them, they have this long sounding name in angel speak, and they don't need a name because as far as they're concerned, they're functional. They're our guardians and they look after us. And I have a girlfriend in Melbourne, and she said, my guardian's called Paul. And I thought, what, you've got four called Paul? And I went, oh, okay. But really, they don't give a name.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they can give you, because a name is just a frequency that has an identity attached to it if the human mind needs it. It's a bit like your work, Kayt. I've been speaking to Kayt for years about her work, and I remember asking you years ago, why do the angels want to be painted, and why do they come in human form, and why don't they have wings? I remember I asked you all those questions many years ago, and they wanted to identify themselves in a way that human minds can grasp,
can cope. Yes.
Yeah.
And this choir of angels angels and archangels that I'm painting, there are 77, as you said, in the choir. 10 are archangels, the rest are angels. This choir has had the purpose through time of making it easy for humans to communicate with angels, archangels, and God. So they inspired paintings in Mesopotamia. They inspired all those Renaissance paintings. They're inspiring what I'm doing and others around the world who are doing angel paintings. With the ones I'm doing, they are putting their frequency into the painting so that, if I put 10 of these paintings out for you, you might say, I like the look of that one over there, but this is the one I'm to work with. And I used to think, how do people know, when I first started doing this? And it's because our heart chakra, our heart center, knows what quality we need. So the person who's having difficulty in our life will be called to Angel Aloysius, whose quality is pathfinding through difficult circumstances and giver of light, a giver of insight. Someone who's having trouble in relationship will draw to them or recognize the painting that's angel for romance and deepening of love. So our hearts know what we need.
Yeah. There's a couple of questions here, Kayt, Connie and Adele. Connie, do you want to come on camera, darling one?
That's fine.
So that'd be a yes. There we
Hi,
go.
Connie.
Hi, Kate. Thanks so much. Kate, I've got a part of a couple of questions. With praying, which is something I used to do, I would try and be grateful rather than just ask for things all the time. And in the conversation today, we've talked about asking the angels for help.
Yep.
You did mention in the evening to say thank you. How do we show gratefulness to the angels?
Well,
is first part of my
from their
question.
from their perspective, when we do good works in the world and we are focused and on the case, they see that as gratitude. So personally, I was concerned that I wasn't grateful enough at night. Yeah. And when I asked, they said, no, you're working very hard for the angelics. You're working in business to make a difference in the world. We see that as gratitude. Yeah. More action, more than words.
Okay.
Does that answer that?
It does. You mentioned at night. So is there part of a ritual at night time where you say thank you?
No, personally, when I remember to, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. And the thing is with gratitude, if we can come into our heart and just reflect on what were the things today that I really loved doing? What are the things today that I really loved expressing? What are the things today that I helped someone? And hold those into our heart. That's a form of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a nice day review, to review the day in that way. And it helps us go to sleep peacefully. If I can just mention an angel for you, if any of you have difficulty sleeping, because a lot of people do, put an alarm on your clock, on your phone for 5 o'clock in the afternoon and call on Angel Serenus. She's the angel for serenity, and she takes her time to just hunker you down. She expands your view into the future and the experience of the past and helps you be present. And then finally, when you get to bed, you serenely go to sleep. So I just thought I'd mention that for the people who have difficulty with sleeping.
Is that Angel Serenus?
Yes, Serenus.
And
she's the angel for serenity. Yeah.
Is it possible to call on Angel Serenus for your children?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you simply say, I am grateful to Angel Serenus for my children sleeping well tonight. One of the people I know, her name's Chrissy, she came from Angel Consultation. She said, my boys, I've got 2 of them, they argue at night, they get playful, they don't want to go to sleep. And so now she has an alarm in her phone. At 5 o'clock, she calls on Angel Serenus to help everyone sleep. And she said, overnight now, the house is peaceful. The boys just go to bed and drift off to sleep. So it works really well for her.
Wow, I can certainly use that.
Perfect.
The other part of my question, I can see that Adele's waiting, and this is probably a bigger question. I said that I used to pray, and then I think I pulled away from praying to God because there was a lot of fear and anxiety linked with my religion and my belief with God. But over the past few years, I've felt that I want that spirituality and that belief again. And you mentioned the angels being with God. Is speaking with the angels part of a path back to that?
Yes. Speaking personally, I went through a phase in my early life where I was quite sure God had given up on me. And I was on a walk around Wentworth Falls one day, and I'd been working with the angels then for a long time. And I remember just standing and stopping and thinking, the angels brought me back to God. I couldn't stand to use the word God for many years. And I do now with ease, and they brought me back to God. Yeah. I'm sure of it.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I've been looking for a pathway, or not necessarily a pathway, or how to do it. And that's a really good step. Thank you so much, Kate.
And the angel of encouragement would be very helpful. If you said to her, help me find my way back to God, she would be very helpful.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you.
And
Yeah.
Sula reminds us that spirituality is very different from religion. Absolutely, darling.
Yes.
Amen to that. Adele, do you want to come on camera, honey one?
Yeah.
There we go.
Hello.
Hey, hi Adele.
I've been working with the angelic realm for a few years now, and I really love working with the angels. My introduction to the angelic realm was through the kind of Doreen virtue,
Yes.
12 archangels, and I'm very familiar with those 12, and just because of, I guess, habit or familiarity, those are the ones I call on. So it's been really interesting for me today to hear you discuss many other different names. What would you, I think I've got two questions. I guess the first one is like, what would you advise in terms of learning more about different angels? Because like I'm very committed to those 12. And two, like, do you have any comment on that whole Doreen excommunication from the angel thing?
Yes, I do. I don't know
That's
if I should say.
that's a great question.
Yes.
But
So
anyway,
let me-
answer the first one first.
yes, yes, indeed. Look, Adele, with the archangels, now here's the thing. We think there are only 10 or only 12. There are so many more archangels than we know about. They don't advertise this. You know, we've got our superstars like Michael and Gabriel, etc. But there's a whole lot more archangels out there, and they've all got specific groups of angels working with them, and they do specific good works in the world and with humans. So you could, if you wanted to meet more archangels who would work with you, then say to your guardian angel, please connect me with the archangel who is best to work with for me today or this week. And just ask that every day. Is that simple enough, Adele?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. And Doreen Virtue. Right. I do know what happened through a whole set of circumstances. Doreen did a lot of very good work, and she raised a lot of awareness around the world. And she went through a time where she had been badly guided, not by the good guys. She didn't know the difference at the time. And consequently, it led her into a path where she finally ended up doing what's known as the list on her website, where she really denigrated all the good work she'd done, everything from tarot cards to whatever. And she's now living in Seattle, and not in great shape. That's probably all I'd like to say. I do know the story very intimately. It's interesting that it's come to me, and because, you know, I'm an angel type person, I thought, whoa. And when I first started this work, I had an image come to me, and it was sort of like Jesus by the water, yeah, and some of his disciples. And I remember looking at the image and thinking, I don't like the feel of this. I don't like the quality of the light. The light was too bright. And I thought, no, it's not the good guys. No thanks. Don't want to play. And I think that's what happened. Well, I'm told that's what happened to Doreen, that she misunderstood who came to her. And I think that's all I should say. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, interesting.
You know, I think we do need to honour her for all the very good work she did.
Absolutely. She really
And
did some amazing work.
She really did. And of course, from that other energy, you know, they want to stop her doing her good works.
You know what, Kayt? I see Connie's got, have you finished your questions, Adele? Is that?
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks.
And Connie's got a hand up again. She's also teaching us about discernment too.
Yes, that's a very good point.
Yeah, I mean, if you follow someone blindly, you know, stuff like this happens with gurus or people that get on this spiritual pedestal, because spirituality is not about following someone and making them better than you. That's not what spirituality is about. Inclusion, and that we're all an extension of the same source. There cannot be someone lower or higher than us. It's impossible. And so when that happens, I think that the collective powers that be, the angels or God or law of attraction or whatever you want to call that, sets that straight, and then asks people to be discerning. So maybe she had just too many followers that were just like worshiping her, and when she kind of like veered off the path a little bit, now they're asked to look within instead of looking at the person on the stage or the person that's running the business, or
And it's a good point you make, because the thing about gurus is they're supposed to lead us from darkness to light. But if they're off the path, they lead us from light to darkness. So we really do have to develop our own discernment, which is the point you were making. I totally endorse what you're saying. Yeah.
Connie.
Not on that same topic, prayers to the angels. Do you, I've been thinking about saying prayers with my children to help them with the sleeping, and I'm really glad for the other suggestion you made. But the Catholic religion, which is which I was raised in, are a bit fearful. Do you recommend prayers or a source of finding nice prayers?
Carolyn Mace, or Miss, however it's pronounced, did a book last year or the year before, published by Hay House, which has a list of prayers for different days and so on. Connie, you might find that very useful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was Carolyn Mace.
MYSS.
Thank you.
That's David's mate.
Carolyn, CAROLYN MYSS. And I don't know whether to pronounce that Miss or Mace.
Miss.
It depends who you talk to. Yeah,
she says Mace.
Does she?
Right. Okay. Do you have that book, David?
What's the title of it again?
Oh, I didn't give a title. I could go and look on my shelf, but I'm not going to do that in the middle of the session. It's something about messages or prayers. If you go and ask for Carolyn Miss,
How to Pray or something.
Something like that, Hay House, that should help you find it. Because she hasn't done another book since.
And I just want to add my 2 cents here to Connie. I would just ask your guides and your angels for guidance on that too, and get your own words, the words that resonate within you. Without kind of having that sort of memory of the Catholic, we're taught the words and how to say them and when to say them and everything, but just listen to your own guidance on that. You'll be given that. I'm a clear channel for divine love and peace.
Thank you.
Shirley,
intimate conversations with the divine, is that it?
That's it.
Interestingly enough, I just told Connie to have her own intimate conversation.
So Connie, if I could make a suggestion also, I've had this discussion with the angels about praying, and they say, look, just call on us from your heart. Just call on God from your heart. That's enough. We don't have to have, religions often have a lot of prayers and they're quite formal and so on, but the Lord's Prayer is a very good prayer. And just saying from our hearts, angels, I'd really like assistance with this, or God and the angels, please help my family in these ways. It's simple, it's short, and it's just as effective.
Thank you so much. This is so helpful in what I've been looking to find for a number of years. So I appreciate all your help.
Oh,
my pleasure. Yeah. You'll find it really works.
Shirley, did you want to ask your question?
Well, I think it might have just been answered.
Do you want to come on camera? Where are you?
Oh, sure, that's fine. Yeah,
all good.
Yeah. So I was thinking about not Louise Hay, about Doreen Virtue, and she was very experienced and connected, and was able to lose her path. So I wondered, for someone like me who's not that experienced, how do I use my discernment? How do we discern that the messages are coming from the good source or the one that would lead me astray? Now, when I was thinking to ask that, I thought I would pray. I would pray to ask the angels for discernment to assist me in discerning. So is that what I would do? Like, how
Yes,
would
you
I
can simply
know?
ask for the angel of discernment.
Yeah.
That's for the first thing. The second thing is that Archangel Michael is the great protector. His sword is about the sword of truth. And call on Archangel Michael and say, thank you for protecting me this day. I called on him tonight before we began and asked him to surround this group with his multiple qualities and his legions of light and protect each person and everyone in the group. Now, we can all say that. And, you know, you can call on him every day and just say, please, Archangel Michael, run your multiple qualities through me, your qualities, and you don't need to say what I'm about to say, but his qualities, multiple qualities are around truth, trust, faith, and joy. And so every day you could simply ask for his protection. You could call on the angel for discernment, and you could call on the angel for encouragement to help you find your path. How's that? Does that sound like a reasonable angel formula?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Good. And, you know, I have a website, kaytraymond.com, Kaytraymond.com. You've got another question, just send me an email from the site. Okay.
Sula has a question here. Do you want to ask that question, Diane?
Yeah, I hear a lot of energy workers talk about their guides.
Yes.
So when they're talking about their guides, are they actually talking about their angels, or maybe they don't realize they're angels?
Let me make a distinction between angels and guides. So angels are beings of divine light. They're completely made of divine light. And they radiate truth, wisdom, joy, inspiration, etc. Each one that does it is irrespective of what the quality is that they radiate. Spirit guides are spirits who've had a life and died, and they're on the other side, and they can go to classes and learn wisdom or learn kindness if they need to. And they can also come and assist us. Now, often we have guides with us. It might be our grandmother, spirit guide who's a North American Indian, and we have a group of guides. And the people who have the most guides are the people who are to work with other people. And so when I do angel consultations, the angels speak first, and I can see the spirit guides waiting to speak at the end. And they've learnt that I'm very kinesthetic, so often they'll do movements in the air to explain themselves. And the person I'm doing the consultation with will go, yes, that's exactly that, like the one recently where this guy, the father, did this little jig, this little dance. And I said, did he do a funny little dance? She said, oh, he was always doing that. He thought it was very cool. He wasn't really, but he thought he was. And one woman came, and there was like a group of about 50 guides. And she said, I'd love to know if my lineage down this particular nationality, if my lineage supports me in my work and is proud of what I'm doing. And this whole group put their hands in the air with their fists, closed, as much as to say, we're in solidarity behind you. And then they put their hands on their heart and bowed as if to say, we acknowledge you, we love you, we're proud of you. And then they just waved, like, we're here. So, yes, we have lots of spirit guides, and they're very handy, they're very good. So they're useful. So we have both angels and spirit guides.
And are the angels fully enlightened beings?
Oh, good question.
like, so if there's round and rounds and rounds of rebirth, endless reincarnation, until with a path, with a view to growing in consciousness, we will just keep getting rebirthed until we become fully enlightened. Once you become fully enlightened, can you decide, I'm going to be a guardian angel for this person?
Okay, this is really good point. Mostly people who have, it's hard to be enlightened, as we all know. And it really, mostly angels are born in angel realm. However, there are some who have been humans, and it's sort of rare and it's not too many, and they really live a very pure life, or a very pure series of lives. And the one I've heard of in particular was a woman who'd had 3 lives, and she was a firefighter in French's Forest, and she was burned by the fire and died. And she went straight to become an angel. Now, that was not because of the experience of dying, but it was because of the preparation she had done through that life and other lives. So that's the only one I've actually can give you an example of. It is rare, as I understand it, sort of, for a human spirit to become an angel. Mm. We can all do our best to work towards that, though, if we're drawn to, yeah. Mm. And I just love this notion that before a spirit comes to be in a human body, it's in the baby garden. Can you believe this? It's in the baby garden, in the divine area, and then it comes and chooses a body to be born into. I just love this notion of a baby garden. Mm-hmm. Mm. That sort of took it a bit off track, but... Mm.
So, David.
Yes.
Where would you like to go now?
Have we any more questions in the group?
I think we're done with the questions.
Yes. Well, we got to 9:30. Well, I think my thing runs out in 3 minutes, but I don't know because I made it a 2-hour meeting. So I'd like to officially thank you, Kayt. It was incredibly beautiful and enlightening and wonderful tonight. And everyone's waving. Okay. And it was really wonderful to be with you and all the angels and archangels. And thank you so, so much.
My real pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. And thank you to all the people who've asked questions. That's great.
Thank you so much, Kayt. That was so good.
Yeah, thanks, darling. It's wonderful to see you again.
Thank you,
it's
Kayt.
mutual.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sweetheart. You're welcome.
Sending love.
Yeah, you too.
Big love.
Big love.
Big love.
Honey one.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, David.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Karen.
Karen and David. Thanks, Kayt. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.